In today's episode, Chantal asks, I'm running a social media workshop in a month and I'm struggling to find ways to make it more interactive. What suggestions do you have? Great question. Workshops, like any form of content marketing, because they are a form of content marketing, need to be entertaining, engaging, and educational. The three E's of all content marketing. You must do as many of those as possible. You want all three, but at the very least, you need to be doing 2 out of 3. Now, educational is pretty straightforward. To give people information that they need based on what they ask you to teach. Entertaining, probably not the best person to ask that. Follow folks like Kathy Klotz's guest or Ron Tite or folks like that too, who are proven entertainers and public speakers. Engagement is all about participation. In a workshop setting, workshops are different than talks. A lot of people who are really good speakers, public speakers, are not necessarily good workshop leaders because the skill set is different. A workshop is much more close to a classroom setting where you have a significant amount of time to teach stuff to people and to validate that the information got from your brain to theirs, as opposed to being on stage where you just do your dog and pony show for 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes, and then off you go. People in a audience, in a public speech, are much more passive. Yes, they're tweeting or clapping or paying attention, maybe, but they're not engaged. They're not doing something. In a workshop, they absolutely need to be doing something in order for them to feel like they're getting value out of it, especially if it's like a half day or a full day workshop. Full day workshops are probably one of the most difficult exercises you can go through as an educator because people don't have that much energy. They don't have that much stamina unless they're constantly being engaged. So let's look at a few different things that you can do to make your workshops better. Number one, the first thing I always do with a workshop is spend 15 to 30 minutes doing input, which is, okay, well, why are you here? What did you want? What did you want to get out of this? Sometimes I will have the organizer send out a pre-workshop questionnaire to see what people say, and then ask again in the workshop to see if the answers are different, because attendees change, or there are some things that people want to really see, but you want to try and do both, ideally. So get that pre-attendee feedback. 4 things that people can do. I like the sort of the rhythm of explain the thing, what is the thing, why is the thing important, how to do the thing, and then a validation. So what is Twitter analytics? Why does Twitter analytics matter? How do you pull the data? And then, okay, now let's validate that you got the information and that you can make use of it. When you structure a workshop like that, where you do a deep dive on a few techniques rather than the scattershot of a public talk, attendees do get more value. You may not, and you will not get through as much material as you think you will, because that validation part takes time. We as professionals who have been doing this a while are like, well, just click, 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 and you're done, right? But for a lot of other people, they don't move at that speed because they don't do it as much as we do. So that what, why, how validation, the walkthroughs of very specific techniques, is a great way to keep people engaged. Keep the what and why relatively compact, and then the how, have people follow along, and then have people do it themselves and validate that they were able to do it unguided. The second thing to do is group exercises. This is especially true for anything that is creative in nature. Teach a technique on like how to use Camtasia Snagit and say, okay, now let's see you folks work together in groups of 2 or 3 or 4 and craft some interactive screenshots of your own. Let's see you go ahead and do that. Group exercises are especially good when the material is a little tough and people are afraid of being singled out. So if you're using like IBM Watson Studio can be a very intimidating experience. So pairing people up or grouping people up into 3 or 4, they can all kind of point around and help each other based on what you taught and help them remember, oh yeah, and when you're doing a neural network modeler, you have your choice of the SPSS backend or the Spark backend. Which one was that? Mary, do you remember? And Mary will be like, oh yeah, for this application, use the Spark modeler. So it will get people interacting and working together, collaborative, which is very useful. The third thing can work well, depending on your skill as a moderator, are hot seats, where you say, okay, somebody bring up your LinkedIn profile or your Facebook page, and we're all gonna pitch in ideas for how to make it better. And you, as the workshop leader, will be doing the lion's share of the suggestions. But you can say, okay, well, I wouldn't use that image size on that profile. It's not the best size. The best image size is 1200 by 680. Try and keep your text under 20% on just as a general rule on Facebook, and so on and so forth. So you'd use hot seats as a way. You have to be very skillful as a moderator to pull that off, because it can leave people feeling defensive and criticized. So you want to make it sure that you elect people, and start with yourself. Start with your own profile, so you can say, hey, I'm not perfect. I got stuff wrong with my profile too. Let's critique mine first, and then don't be abusive to yourself, right? Show that the exercise no harm shall come. And the fourth one, and again, this depends on you reading the crowd and the comfort of the crowd, would be contests and competitions, to say, like, okay, in the next 15 minutes, we're going to have a contest, and you could win, I don't know, a free song off of Spotify or something like that, or whatever meaningful giveaway that you want to give to your crowd, and say, in the next 15 minutes, you're going to craft as many emoji-based tweets as possible, or something like that. But think about the way that game shows work, either regular game shows or shows like Iron Chef or America's Test Kitchen or things like that, where you can take the idea of the format and then transpose it into your workshop to make the workshop more interactive. So those are some ways to take those social media workshops, or frankly any marketing workshop, to the next level. Walkthroughs, group exercises, hot seats, and contests and competitions. Read the crowd carefully, though. Not every technique is right for every crowd. You're going to have to get some experience with it and get a sense of what people are comfortable with, and you'll find that out in the input, either with the pre-workshops questionnaire, and then on the day of, you look at people's temperament and go, this is not a contest crowd. Or you see a bunch of folks like, my vacuum cleaner company is the best vacuum cleaner company there is. Competition time. So you got to learn to read the crowd. So great question, complex question, and will require a lot of practice. I would suggest doing a run-through of some of these, a dry run, maybe with some friends or some colleagues, just to test it out and test out your skills as a moderator. As always, please leave any follow-up comments in the comments section, and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.